everybody. Welcome to the morning show. We're coming to you today on WJOP-LP Newburyport at FM 96.3 on Channel 9 and on Newburyport Community Media's YouTube station at ncmhub.org. Today, I am very happy to welcome representatives of Community Service of Newburyport. Ray Pilledge is here. He's the Executive Director. Ray, welcome, and thank you for taking time to visit the morning show.
Thank you, Mary. Good morning.
And we also have the two fundraising co-chairs. Julie Ganong is here. Julie, welcome. Thanks for coming.
It's great to be here.
Great to have you. And Lesa Scott is here. She is also fundraising co-chair. And Lesa, thank you very much for taking time to come to the show and talk about your wonderful social service organization. And I know you're preparing for a fundraising raffle to support fellowships for campers, which you charmingly call camperships, and we'll talk about that later. But first, Ray, I was hoping that you could start us off by just telling us about the history and the mission of Community Service of Newburyport, because they've been around, I understand, for some time. Am I correct? Since 1912?
Yeah, that's right.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's not the original charity organization in Newburyport, but I would say it's one of the original charity organizations in Newburyport. And you know, if you cast your mind back to the turn of that century, you know, there were a lot of charity organizations springing up in Massachusetts. It was originally run by wealthy women in Newburyport, and you know, they dispensed aid to the poor. If you know, we're thinking about a time where there weren't very many safety nets for people.
Yeah.
And I don't completely understand what the culture was like back then, but I understand that it was sort of done on the QT, like that people, you know, it was, you know, aid was quietly asked for and given out. And
You mean there was a need for discretion?
I think it was something that the people who were providing the aid didn't like shout from the rooftops about.
Yeah.
But we existed in that form for like 100 years, I think, just quietly, neighbors helping neighbors under the radar screen. And you know, society changed a lot.
Yeah.
This little organization just kept going, and mostly with practical help and cash donations from people in town, and a few local foundations, and we gave out what we took in, and in around I came on as the first executive director at the end of 2020, and at that time the board had decided that, you know, they wanted to be more known and they wanted to have a larger impact in the community. And, you know, what surprised me when I came on was that hardly anybody in the city seemed to know about the organization.
Too much discretion.
Way too much. Yeah.
Humility is a virtue, but at a certain point, you want people to know that you're there so they can both donate and also avail themselves of the services that you have available.
Yes.
So.
But I came here because I was really attracted to the grassroots mission. There's been periods in my life where I've done lots of grassroots social work, and it really appealed to me, and also the board were amazing.
It's important to have a good board, isn't it?
It really is.
Makes all the difference in the world. Well, that's really interesting. You know, I've had occasion to interview local historian Lee Woodworth a number of times, and one of the things that she's talked about is Newburyport has a very long, and I would say somewhat noble, tradition of philanthropy. That there are a number of charitable trusts that have been around as long as CSN or even longer, and they're still in existence today, still helping people. So I think that's something for our community to be very proud of.
I think so. In fact, we collaborate with a number of those agencies, you know, General Charitable, the Howard Benevolent Society, NASRA, this St. Vincent de Paul. We pool our resources from time to time to help people out of, you know, expensive situations.
Well, that was one of the things that I know that on your website you talk about a number of collaborative partnerships that you have with different kinds of other social service agencies in Newburyport and the surrounding communities. And I think, first of all, give us a sense of the range of services that you offer, because there's a lot of them. And one of the ways I understand that you are able to provide as many different services to people is through the collaborations. So tell us a little bit about the types and the range of services that that you offer, and how those collaborative partnerships enable you to do as much as you do.
Right. I mean, I think that's one of the tenets of our agency. We believe in making our resources go as far as we can and being really efficient about how we do our work. But because we're mostly locally funded, we can be extremely flexible. We're not bound by government contracts or anything like that. So one of the things we do is we provide cash assistance to people, but probably in the range, we probably spend, somewhere in the range of $3,000 to $6,000 a month on those kinds of things. But usually it's a bridge. So if somebody has problems paying their fuel bills or their rent, we'll sit down with them and work out a plan so that we can get them on fuel assistance, or we can get them on some kind of subsidized rent or housing. So we use our resources in that way. We don't do case management. We don't hook people up to be dependent on us over the long term. We do prioritize trying to keep people housed. So homelessness prevention is a huge thing. I think your audience probably knows that, housing is a big problem and huge challenge. And we actually see people walking in all the time who are losing their housing. And we do I've got 2 part-time social workers that work with me, and we do our best to be good advocates for them. We have programs. We have a diaper program. We collaborate with Anchor of Hope to provide diapers for young families. And on the other end of the spectrum, we provide a lot of adult incontinence products for seniors. Also important, and not something that everybody would think of, but it makes a huge difference in an individual's life if those are things that you need. Right. You can go, so you can have dignity, so you can leave the house. Absolutely, that's right. And the same with the little ones too. Absolutely. If they're safe and dry, everything works better in the home. And we belong to something called the Round Table, which is a collaboration between some of those legacy agencies we just talked about, and we share resources to cover large expenses. Well, the word that came to my mind as you were talking about the role you play is triage. It's kind of an emergency medicine metaphor, but it does sound as though in a social service sense, triage is part of what you do. If people have an immediate need, they can come to you, and then part of what you do is provide, I like the way you put it, a financial bridge for people, but then you can also help them get set up with something that is a more continuous a source of support. So, well, bravo. Important. And I'm glad, frankly, to help people find out that you're there. Because, let's toss the discretion. Let's be proud and open. It's a fundamental and very important kind of triage, social service triage that you provide. Well, one of the things about that is it is quite shameful for people to come through the door and say that they need help. And one of the things that I'm actually quite proud of is over the last couple of years we've established really strong relationships in the community, and we welcome people from all over the world really who have moved to this area. And the other thing I wanted to add was, we do a lot of collections for personal care products, for things that aren't covered by SNAP benefits.
Yeah.
And we give out, last year we distributed about $30,000 worth of personal care products.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and there's people in this community that depend on that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we should add at this point that it's not just Newburyport, it's also Newbury and West Newbury that you serve as well. So
That's
it's
right.
the broader kind of community. And we should also clarify that while the organization can toss the discretion in terms of your presence in the community, that people assist applying for aid or trying to come in and get aid, there's discretion there, for sure.
Yeah, I
because
would.
privacy is very important for those kinds of things. So absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're all actually professional social workers, and
There you go.
Yeah, and that's a tenet of our work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you and I were talking before the show, we're both members of that tribe.
Yes.
Right? I'm
Yes.
proud to be.
Yes, that's right.
It's a good tribe. Well, thank you very much. That's a really interesting and long history of providing social service triage in our broader community. But you have a spring fundraiser coming up that I think is very exciting and interesting. As I mentioned in the intro, you provide fellowships for summer camp, which you call camperships, and there's a raffle coming up, and I do want to learn all about this. But let's start with why this particular program, the camperships raffle, is so important for our communities.
Shall I start?
Sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
our goal is to provide opportunities for children and young people who give them access to things that they might not have access to. We like the idea that we might provide the camp or the instruction or the idea that might change that person's life.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of educators and retired educators on our board, and we're all very passionate about giving young people those opportunities. This year we have about 32 kids signed up already, and our goal's 40, but we could do more than 40 if we need to. And we have people going to hockey camp at UNH and skating camp at UNH. We have people going to sports camps at St. John's. We have people going to local camps, arts camps, nature camps, theatre camps, whatever. We try to match the camps to the young people's interests.
That's wonderful. Camping has changed a lot since I was a kid and went to summer camp when, we did things like soap carving. But I was talking to our young tech wizards whom you met just before the show and asking them about their summer camp experiences, and they were talking about sailing camp and theater camp and all kinds of very specialized, focused activities that sounded like way more fun than soap carving. I have to say.
Oh my gosh, I think I did soap carving.
What was that, Lesa?
I think I did soap carving. Now that you remind me.
I know. It's like
A week-long soap carving class. Yeah.
Did we all do soap carving?
We did.
It's a generational thing, I guess. But it's not a fond memory.
I think the important thing, the basics of this summer campership program is that kids go back to school in the fall, and it's as simple as, what did you do? You have to write that little essay when you go back, what you did on your summer vacation.
Yeah.
And instead of leaving a blank page, they get to really talk about this, which makes them part of their tribe. They fit in instead of being embarrassed, like, oh, I couldn't afford to do anything.
Oh, yeah.
They get to do this and really have that biggest, and meet new people. It also, cuts down, we hope, on, inappropriate behaviors and being left alone a lot. It gives mom and dad a break. break, knowing
Right.
that their child is safe and having that experience. That's
Right.
all very positive. So we really put our heart and soul into raising this money and
Yeah.
trying to make it aware that it's available and it's okay
Yeah.
to ask.
Absolutely. You know, I like what you say, Julie, about those, what I did over summer vacation essays. And everybody should have bragging rights at a young age about something. And to
Right.
be able to go back and say, I learned how to sail, or I made a robot.
Exactly.
One success story I would love to share
Yeah.
is with a client of ours, and she was so generous in sharing the experience that her daughter had. And her daughter, at 12, I believe it was at 12, she went to her first cooking school.
Oh,
because
my.
She was very interested in cooking. She went a second year, and at this point, as she's getting older, she's really focusing on becoming a chef.
Wonderful.
Isn't that great? Just the opportunity to have an experience of something that you're interested in, how it
Yes.
can actually be a life-changing event
Right.
for your whole life. It was such a great success story.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are a lot more of those stories out there that we just don't know about. And
Yeah.
I think, as Julie mentioned, you know, we have the opportunity to meet people from other
Yeah.
areas,
That's
not
right.
only of our community, but perhaps the state, maybe
Yeah.
even, you know, outside of the United States. And just makes for a, you know, for a rounder life. for the kids.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
right. And a life-changing kind of event,
Right.
because to be able to have an experience at the age of 12 that helps you focus on something you really want to become, develop an expertise in, that is transformative. I mean, I was a liberal arts major in college, and I kind of stumbled around until I found social work school, Ray, and then realized that was a good. But you know, I think that if you find a passion at a young age, there are few things, in my experience and opinion anyway, that are more gratifying than having something that you can develop mastery in.
Right.
And to be able to start having that feeling at a young age and then keep pursuing is a huge gift in life. So, second bravo.
Yeah.
Yes.
So a couple of pieces of information that might be
Yeah.
helpful just for folks who are
Sure.
listening. So it costs about $375. That's an average for a youngster to go.
And that's a
to
bargain.
camp. And we have a goal of $15,000 to raise this summer through our raffle. And if the young person is doing something like surfing camp and they need the equipment, we will help them acquire the equipment
Wonderful.
that they need, so that that doesn't become a barrier to participating in the camp. The other thing that we are exploring is to engage with overnight camps.
Uh-huh.
And for students, young people who would like to go to a week-long or two-week-long camp. And the camp that we're working with is Mara Vista up in New Hampshire, and they have offered to pay half
Oh,
of a
wonderful.
student's tuition if we will support the other half.
That's right.
And the focus of Mara Vista is, it's a part of the American Youth Foundation, which is about leadership.
Wonderful.
About leadership, inclusion, creativity, and it's just a great opportunity, and we're hoping that's our next kind of big
Yes.
thing. We're looking for 2 students who would be interested in attending, and we know that's a big leap. That is a big leap to send a child to camp for overnight, but boy, what a great opportunity too.
Well, yeah, I mean, for the right young person who's ready for that and excited about it, also the potential for a truly transformative kind of experience that can change a life. So that's wonderful.
The other thing I'd like to mention to you, and we did this last summer and certainly would be willing to support and help this summer, was the Newburyport Youth Foundation. They send a lot of students to camp as well, and we have been a partner with them in helping to make sure that all the students that want to go to camp can go to camp.
Wonderful. How exciting.
Yeah.
That's really great. Well, the key to all this is the raffle.
That's right.
And so let's talk about the raffle. What can people win? How does it all work?
They get 5 choices to win. There are 5 baskets. Each of the baskets are balanced, and they're all worth $750.
Okay.
We sort of based it on what we think the interest might be. So there's golf. There is culture in and around Newburyport. There is family fun with gift certificates and experiences. there is like golf. You can go play, but you can
Yeah.
also take lessons.
Okay.
There's also the gardening for all you gardeners out there. And the tickets are reasonable. The tickets are 1 for 10, 3
That's
for
very
20,
reasonable.
and 6 for 30.
Very
so someone's going to
reasonable.
win. So people should buy tickets because it just might be them. There's even, like, under the culture one, there's 2 Patriots tickets available.
All right, okay.
So we took this the board has been absolutely amazing in coming up with creative ideas, then going out and putting this together. So we're in and around the area. Last week we did the farmers market, and
Right.
again, it's another opportunity like today to tell our story and what's out there. We're still creating our awareness and being known and being out there publicly and offering something like this for a reasonable price. And when you tell people that it's to help send kids to camp, they're like, oh, I would like to do that. And
Yeah.
sometimes they'll just make a cash donation because they don't want to bother with the raffle. But still, people, you see it on their faces and you see the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
This is a good idea.
Yeah.
People get it
Yeah.
maybe based on their own experience of going
Yeah.
to camp. Like, I want other kids
Yeah.
to have this. But also, it's like, this is a really good deal for $750, a $10 ticket. So.
It absolutely is a really good deal.
So, it's
So-
a lot of fun, and it's like we like to say, there's a little something for everybody here on these baskets.
Yeah.
So, and where are we this weekend that we're going to be selling tickets?
We
I
will
forget.
be at West Newbury Food
Okay.
Mart on Saturday and Sunday,
Okay.
9 to 1 each. And other ways to purchase tickets, all of our board members are selling tickets as well. And you can go to Community Service of Newburyport. We have our QR code there for Rally Up, which is a digital nonprofit platform that allows you to buy tickets. You can see all of the baskets and what's in each of the baskets prior to purchasing your 6 tickets for $30. We, of course, will be at Spring Fest.
What is the date for Spring Fest?
25th and 26th,
That's
and
Memorial
it's
Day
from 10
weekend.
to 4.
Yeah. Okay.
And we will be certainly on the waterfront with our tent and face painting.
Okay.
So bring all the kids. And
Any soap carving, Lisa?
Oh, yes, we're going to add soap carving. We can do that.
Sounds like we have a lot of experts.
Such a draw.
And
Oh, that sounds great. Very festive.
Yeah,
go
I
ahead,
think
Ray.
the raffle's going to be drawn at the end of the day on the 26th.
On the 26th,
The mayor's
right,
going to
okay.
draw the raffle tickets. So
Okay, wonderful.
stay tuned if you've bought
So you'll find out
tickets.
then whether you get one of the amazing.
And your summer will be
Baskets.
complete because it's going to take you a while to use all this. It's
And-
very fun.
I would like to do a big shout out, certainly
Yeah.
to Colby Farms,
Okay.
to
Yeah.
the tannery for Farmers Market.
Sure.
We were also at Shaw's, and that support means so much and gives us an opportunity just to raise awareness about community
Right.
service as well as engage people in participating in sending kids to camp.
Right.
So thank you all very much, as well
Right.
as the West Newbury Food Mart.
Right. So kudos to your sponsors
And
as
you
well.
also will see we're trying to balance not just Newburyport, but be in West Newbury, which is one of
Yeah.
our communities, and the same with Newbury,
Yeah.
so that you can create the awareness that there is help for you. We also
Yeah.
work with the Newbury Food Pantry as far as getting the
Oh,
message
great.
out as well. We put
Great.
information
Great.
in their bags.
Right.
I think one of the things as sort of a newer board member that I have learned is, and was very surprising, is hidden poverty. That a lot of people think, well, people have problems in Newburyport or West Newbury. In Newbury, people look around and go, oh, there can't be any poverty here.
Yeah.
But it's getting those people, and that's why I love the staff at CSN, is the dignity that they
Yes.
get. It's not awkward. They care. They make a difference. And, every once in a while, we all need some help. And I think this is really important. So when we peer in these communities and we have our information, people can share it with maybe somebody, or maybe they'll place a call and say, hey, I think Betsy
Yeah.
might need some help. And
Yeah.
so we try to balance it so that all the communities know about us and get our message.
Yeah.
Something I think that's an important piece of information is that just based on some census data, about 5% of the members of the 3 communities are living at or below the poverty line.
Yeah.
And that is different than a living wage.
It sure
and even
is,
the living
yeah.
wage is a wage that sometimes can be very difficult to live on.
Often means paycheck to
So
paycheck.
that 5% is
Yeah.
just kind of the
Yeah.
bottom end of where that becomes larger when you think about the
Yeah.
living wage. So there are folks who need
Yeah.
some additional help and support.
Well, it makes me think about what you were saying, Ray, about providing a bridge for people, because sometimes it's that bridge that helps people just, it's a bridge stops somebody from falling into the abyss, doesn't
Right.
it? Both, metaphorically and literally. And so
Right.
having a place where you can go discreetly with dignity intact and get help with a bridge so that you can find a sustainable path forward, critically important for people. And so it's wonderful that you're out there providing people with those kinds of bridges. And the summer camp, which is a different kind of bridge
It
to
is.
possible futures
Right.
for young people. And I think that's why people are enthused about it when they hear about the camperships. Plus, campership is such a great word.
So can I mention
So-
3 ways now?
You may.
You can buy a raffle ticket.
Please do.
You could actually fund a student child to go to camp for
Mm-hmm.
a week, or you can make a direct donation.
Mm-hmm.
And that you can make the direct donation and fund directly
Mm-hmm.
a camper through community service. Just call community service.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be more than happy to help you. Or, buy 6 tickets for $30.
How much was that again?
The other thing I like about CSN is that we're really centrally located. We're easily walkable for anybody that needs it. And Ray, maybe you can talk about the hours and availability there. I think
Okay.
that's key.
And the address?
Yes. So we're in the basement of the annex of St. Paul's Church
Okay.
on the corner of Summer Street and High Street, 35 Summer Street. There's a shingle out by the street. We're open
I
to
know exactly where you're. I know that shingle.
Yeah, we're open to the public on Tuesdays and Wednesdays
Okay.
from 9 to 2:30 in the afternoon.
Good to know.
Yeah. And if you need help, come see us.
So stop by.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Well, it's so exciting to learn about everything that you do, and especially about the camperships and the raffle. But what's next after May 26th? What's next up for CSN?
Well, glad you asked, because we're always in motion, I can tell you that.
And did you know that before you joined the board?
No, I don't think I did. It's a pretty passionate board, and they want to keep moving. Do you want to talk about that?
So what we will begin to focus on November the 11th as a fall to winter fundraiser, which actually is going to be held here at the Senior Center.
Okay.
More details to come
Okay,
soon, but it will be our fall fundraiser
Wonderful.
with a specific goal, and we hope to have as many folks participate this November as we had last November, because we were able to have an awareness breakfast and fundraising type breakfast last November as well. So this
Oh,
will be
wonderful.
the second year in a row.
Okay, great. So keep your eyes out for,
Right.
more
More details to come.
More details to come in October, presumably, for
Did I say October or November?
That's November.
Oh, no, I
It's
mean.
November 11th, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, you said it right. I
Okay,
was
did I?
saying start looking for information in October so you can be prepared for November 11th.
Absolutely.
Come
is
and be
Veterans
seen.
Day, right?
Everybody goes.
Okay, wonderful. Well, that sounds exciting. It just sounds wonderful, and I'm so glad that you came to the show to just help us know more about the work that you do, and especially about the exciting raffle that you're doing for camperships. One more question before you go, because I'm just curious. It sounds like such a wonderful organization. For each of you individually, what is it that you find most gratifying or fun about the work that you do with Community Service of Newburyport?
For me, because I do believe there is a need for particularly around the camperships, for
Yeah.
kids to have experiences that have the opportunity and potential to change their life. But the organization is small, it's very nimble, and it's easy, very easy to see the direct impact
Oh,
that
yes.
the organization is
Yeah.
having on adults and children because of the nature of how it operates. And I believe something that's extremely important, which goes back to the nimble, being very nimble, is that the organization, because it does not take state, federal, or local tax type dollars, is free of certain types of lengthier restrictions.
Yeah, constraints, bureaucratic constraints.
Right. So
yeah.
it makes it quite easy for that bridge to hold up well to help
Yeah.
people who need help.
Yeah. If you see a need, you can jump in there. Sort of. Well, thank you, Lesa. What I take from that is just the immediacy of the impact. You can actually see the difference that you're making, which sounds hugely gratifying.
Right.
Julie or Ray, anything you want to say about that?
I think for me, it's two things. One is I sort of showed up through other people I knew on the board, and I'm thinking I was really sort of undecided how much I wanted to engage.
Yeah.
But for me, when I saw the passion of this board, it grabbed me. I thought,
Yeah.
oh my God, to be working with a group of individuals that really want to make a difference
Yeah.
and to get things done. And the second part is the direct giving. I used to run a foundation, and you gave money away, but this, I love that somebody can call and feel better that day, or can get help and not feel that they're failing or whatever.
Yeah.
I love that dignity
Yeah.
part of it,
Wonderful.
and that it's, almost instant gratification that they can go out. So that one-to-one giving for me is huge. And you identify it, but it's scary that there is a need out there.
Yeah.
And how much there is for all of that. And that was a big surprise, which I think spurs this whole board on to keep doing more and creating more opportunities
Yeah.
and figuring what is needed.
Yeah. Makes me think, of course, you were talking about the hidden poverty
yeah.
amongst us, and to be able to feel like you're making something that can be invisible, that you're saying you may be invisible in a larger sense, but we see you.
Right,
We see you and we value you.
right.
And we want you in a dignified way to be able to succeed and sustain yourself.
and don't
that's
get
deeply
lost.
meaningful.
Yeah, you don't get
So-
lost. You don't
Yeah,
get
right.
behind.
Right.
Maybe it's a couple of months that you
Right.
need this or
Right.
whatever. So
Right. But that just sense of being seen, I'm sure, is just, in addition to the bridge that you provide people, the sense of I'm valued, I'm a valued member of this community, hugely impactful. Ray, what about you?
There's so many things I love about my job. Like, I'm a professional social worker, and coming back to working in a grassroots setting at the end of my career has been enormously gratifying. I like working directly with people. I like fundraising. I'm discovering new things that I like all the time.
Wonderful.
The staff that I have are among the highest caliber staff I've ever worked with, and the board, is what brought me here in the first place. Really, just people that are very motivated. Many of them are retired, but they're still really young at heart and still really inspired to make a difference. And I feel humble and privileged that I can go work in a place like that every day. It's amazing.
Well put. And what I take from what all you have been saying, we've talked earlier about how the work that you do is transformative for your clients, but I'm hearing that it's transformative for your staff and your board as well, which is a wonderful win-win-win-win-win all the way up and down, isn't it? So.
yes.
Well, thank you so much
Thank you,
for
Mary.
your work, and thank you very much for taking time to come to the morning show and teach us about it.
Thank you.
It's exciting to learn about, and bravo, well done.
Thank you, Mary.
And
Thank
good
you
luck.
very much. Thanks.
How many tickets do you get for $30? Thank you, Lesa.
Take
Thank
care.
you, everybody. That's it for today's morning show. Please join us again next Thursday at 9 for the morning show. Till then, be well, everybody.